It's your boy Dre off the top here for 2024. First of all, thank you for joining us. Year 3 of Fine Time. We're here. Doesn't feel like it, but we're here. Also, thanks for making I Thought You Were Circumcised our top downloaded episode of the year. Because you guys did. You fucking freaks. I love you for it. Thank you. Your support is appreciated and seen. And we would like to announce we've begun work on the sequel. I Thought You Were Circumcised too. Happy New Year.
Step into video game land. Welcome to Fine Time.
Hello, party people. It's your boy Dre. Holy shit, we're here. We're back. We're not talking anime today, Steve.
Oh, thank goodness for that. I don't know if I could keep that up for a 5th week in a row. Could you imagine?
But we didn't even get a chance to see Chun-Li take a shower, Kevin.
Whoa! What have I been missing out on?
You've been missing out on anime.
Oh, man.
Yeah, because it's been a running theme. It's kind of a trope in 90s fighting game anime where the main female character takes a shower and you get to see them titties. So, because, you got to have that fan service back then, apparently.
All right, I'm prepping this year. Next December, I'm here for shower talk.
Okay, for fighting game anime Christmas too. Better start recording him now, Steve.
I don't think he's taking on the assignment in entirely good faith there, Andre.
Well, look, whatever gets him interested in anime. Maybe I should have told him Sophia or Anna Williams and etc. take a shower beforehand. That's all he really needed to get on board with us.
I'm getting the sense that if I just hit like the shower supercut on the internet, you guys aren't going to be satisfied with my contribution.
I don't think you're allowed to put that on. I mean, I don't know. You're going to have to go to Vimeo or something to view that. I think.
No, I know that's not happening on YouTube. I have noted other sites on the internet that do have video players.
Okay.
FYI.
Well, since we've been away for a while, we've been playing a lot of games. I think we should start with one of the biggest games of last year, Kevin.
Are you guys ready? You just start the year off with a bang?
Yes.
I played Gollum. I did not play all of Gollum. I played 4 to 5 hours of Gollum. I did not finish it. And you know what? I'm leaving it open. I might, after I've taken a breather, if I'm feeling saucy, I might go and dip my toes in a little bit more. But I feel like I paid my dues enough. So, why did I play this? I was morbidly curious, and I remember saying on the show I was like moderately interested in this when it was announced, long before we knew it would absolutely be a train wreck. So I've been, for the better half of last year, I was playing the how cheap will this get game, and then I think when it was around, I think I got it for 25 Canadian. So it got pretty fucking cheap. So I think I got my 4 or 5 hours money's worth.
I think my favorite how low will it go game I've ever played was just scanning Wario 64's tweets for the PlayStation Classic back in the day, because it's like 100, then it's like 80. We're like lower 60, okay, lower. Okay, it's getting to be $45. Okay, come on, you're getting there. And it finally got to like $15 or something. I think everyone went for it. But yeah, that was my favorite game of Limbo, I think.
So, God, where do I start with Gollum?
I want to hear about these graphics, because obviously I've only really seen it. Yeah. I know I've watched a Digital Foundry on it. Poor Tom having to play this game, and holy shit.
I'm going to start with my biggest criticism, and I think this isn't one that was expected in the first place, but they did miss the mark on the tone and the feel of Middle Earth, or what I wanted to see from that, and that's I don't want to be too hard on them for that, because I think I would say most Lord of the Rings games to some degree don't hit that like I want them to. But I think that for that franchise, it's pretty critical to get somewhere close if you want to be successful. And this, I did not feel like this came, close at all. So even being so technically miserable and boring, if they would have hit that aspect, I think that would have carried this a long way in itself.
But I guess for me, and I remember when they announced this game, I was just thinking like, what the hell are they going to do with a Gollum game? Like Gollum as the hero, like how can that be a game? I just always had trouble conceptualizing it from the jump, I guess.
I mean, I think because they are the period that they're doing this is, and I don't know how fluent you are with Lord of the Rings. It's between the it's between the time that Sauron's minions tortured Gollum to find out where the ring was, the time period shortly after that until Gandalf tracks him down. And I think there was a lot of people that it was almost the same sentiment as the Han Solo movie. People are like, we don't need that story. And I heard a lot of that about the Gollum game too. But personally, I thought that there was, something there if it was done right.
Okay.
But it wasn't. The graphics, it can get so fucking ugly, and it's the way I felt about it, and I thought this was my like predominant thought while I was playing this, was it's really got its own unique aesthetic of ugliness. It's got its own like certain special ugly to it. And it's I can't even like specifically identify the problem. Sometimes it's like explicit technical issues with the game. Sometimes it's shitty textures. Sometimes there's just a lack of effort. But it's ugly at best. There's the odd moment where you think, hey, this looks okay. They didn't fuck this portion up. The human characters, if you want to like see the worst of the worst, go and find footage on YouTube of this game where there's a human character that you're looking at, because it is like, it's unholy, it's bad.
Oh boy, because like people always say our go-to is like, oh, this is like PS2 graphics, and everyone just says about everything that's ugly. This truly, Kevin, really does look like it, and like the texture work too, because it's like, you see those like brown caves, and here's just like the same texture like all over the place. Like that shit is like, it just speaks of like, I have 4 megabytes of RAM and that's it.
Definitely, like, but even it's almost not giving it enough credit for its shittiness by like saying it's got PS2 graphics. I mean, it's got PS2 graphics in the sense that when you look at a human character, like the face looks like PS2 graphics from Grand Theft Auto, but the hair looks like it's like paintings from Okami. Like it,
my God. That's such a You're right. That does sound like a special brand of ugly.
It's pretty gnarly. I kind of this was often branded like this is one of the worst games of the year, if not the worst game of the year. And I don't know where to come down on that, because it's just like, it's ugly and it's janky and it's repetitive. It's just not really fun. It's just not good. It's boring. It's kind of, vanilla fetch quests. There's, basic platforming, again, reminiscent of PlayStation 2 era games, basic stealth. The story is not, the story is what I thought maybe this will be the redeeming thing for me. And it sure wasn't making me want to play more than that 4 or 5 hours.
Is there combat? Do you like kill people? Do you like fight stuff
or
something?
How
would that work?
Yeah, see, that's what I'm trying to imagine.
There's like picking up rocks and throwing them. It's more of like a distraction thing.
Okay, so you don't actually like get into a fight.
There's definitely not like dedicated thumbsticks for each of Gollum's arms. That's not happening.
You don't pick up your Switch Joy-Cons and start playing arms all of a sudden, where you just
no okay, not today.
Oh man,
yeah. The plot, I feel like, is if I was 10 years old and somebody was like, okay, tell a story about Gollum at this period, like that, this is maybe what I would have come up with at 10. Like it's just like exactly the most basic thing you think it would be. It's just, yeah. So I guess as far as it being bad, it's just, I don't know why anybody would willingly want to play this, because almost anything else you play is going to be better. But I have one point. This was the most mad last year I got at a fucking video game. So what is good about this game? They're self-aware enough that they give you very regular checkpoints, because they know the game is shitty and they know you don't want to do all of this repetition. So good on them. Thank you for the very frequent checkpoints. However, in one of the levels, it's a fairly large area. This is some stealth, but it's mostly platforming in here, and it's very vertical. You've got to climb up and kind of get through this area.
It's so ridiculous.
And I got
Staring
to
at
a
that
point.
Gollum mess.
Yeah.
I got to a point where I was very high up in the level and had been playing this section for maybe like 40 minutes. And I fell down to physically where the level started. And then they set my checkpoint at the start of the fucking level, because that's where I fell.
No.
And I had gone through like, I bet you I had gone through like 15, 20 checkpoints between the start of the level and where I got to there. And then when I died there, they were like, nope, that's where you were. My jaw hit the fucking floor.
This suggests that if you start going backwards through the level, you're going to start hitting all those same checkpoints again.
I guess.
You know what I mean?
I guess.
Like,
Oh no.
because
Yeah. to this point, this is where like I thought, okay, this is I can do this. I can get through a sizable chunk of this game. And at that point, I was just like, fuck you. Like you did me so dirty, Gollum.
that's terrible, because obviously checkpoints should disappear once you get them, so stuff like that can't happen. That's
You'd
so basic.
fucking think so.
That's so wild that happened.
I mean, how? Yeah, I don't know. It's almost like wherever I fell must have just like triggered a specific spot that they had like physically set up for the checkpoint where they. I mean, and I had like backtracked in certain, like I never had a problem with the checkpoints other than that one time, but it was one that fucked me good.
So, okay, so like, what do you stealth around and do as Gollum? Do you like try to get the ring or something, or like are you just like hiding from people?
Yeah, you're hiding from your captors or areas of the area where you're not supposed to be in, and if they say you, either they'll grab you and it's kind of game over, or they'll start shooting arrows at you, or you got to run and hide or whatever. You
would think that since you're going through like, caves and other like small places because you're Gollum, you'd think you could at least fight a few rats or like a few, you know what I mean? Like make something up. I know that sounds a little 8-bit to make you just fight a couple things, but like, come on, man.
I feel like if I wanted to do something Lord of the Rings without actually doing anything in Lord of the Rings, I just pop in one of the Blu-rays.
That's what you probably should do.
Are you doing the thing again where it's like I have Lord of the Rings at home or something? Like I just are you doing this again?
Kevin's just saying all things like, well, you're doing this shit, but you're not allowed to actually interact with these people in any way, otherwise they kill you. So
what do cutscenes look like? Like what do you like the people talking? Like are they okay-ish or are they just like awful?
No. It's especially because of the character models are so janky and shitty. Like it's very off-putting.
Okay.
The cutscenes definitely look worse than the gameplay, but the gameplay often looks quite shitty. You can stealth kill. I'm pretty sure if you get caught, like you can maybe get away, but there's really no ability to fight back.
Oh boy. Okay. Anyway, wow, that sounds like the worst. I'm really glad you played this because we could have started off the year with something, Spider-Man 2 or, like something actually like a real video game. But I'm glad. I really wanted to kick off the year with Gollum. So thank you.
What other podcast is starting the year with Gollum? Not anybody.
Well, none of us are going to start with anything hip or with it because I want Steve to go. I want Steve to go next here. So
okay, you know what? I'm in the middle of however many other projects for you, the listeners. And,
Oh, please.
And this, what do you mean, oh, please? and I had a very busy December. And, things are on the way. And going back to projects I've been working on for you guys, that involved some archiving on my tablet. And you know how that goes. And I figured, you know what? Let's try the Luna app again. Amazon's game streaming solution, because they sent me a controller when I bought a new tablet for myself last Christmas. Now, last Christmas when I said the same thing, let's goof around on Luna for a minute. I tried playing Baseball Stars 2, and it did not fucking work. I couldn't play an inning of that to save my life. It just did not work.
Could you tell me something about that, though? Was that like Arcade Archives Baseball Stars 2, or did someone just release Baseball Stars 2?
No, it was Dotemu or somebody made a cloud version, and it was not good.
Okay, interesting. Anyway.
It was not working. So it's been some time since I'm like, okay, you know what? The controller's in my hand. I'm looking at the tablet. Let's fire the app again for laughs. And I fired up a game again. And guys, the stars aligned, or all the components were in the right place. It fucking worked.
Luna, Amazon Luna worked, you say?
On my Fire tablet, whatever it is I bought last year.
So what did you try?
I played the whole of Once Upon a Jester. This appeared on a Nintendo Indie World however long ago. It had Wander Song vibes back then. There's no overlap between the two, and I looked at devs, so it just happens to look very similar. But anyway, you're a jester and a sockman who's trying to steal a diamond by gaining clout in the theater world by collecting bouquets. You do this by listening on villager murmurs on what kind of shows they want and improvising on templates pre-provided. It's a real game, you guys, that released shortly after this presentation in 2022. I swear to God.
That honestly sounds fun. If it had the right art style that I like, I'd probably give something like that a go.
It's cheesy as hell. It's got goofy voice acting. Like, it would be considered bad in other places, but here it's appropriate. I found it to personally be worth included with Prime on Luna for December. You might not find it worth the $15 they usually charge. I'm not your mom. Look at it and look at a trailer and make your own decisions.
Wow. I mean,
who's asking their mom?
Yeah, for real.
I don't know. I always feel like there's a kid listening. And if you are,
no children are allowed to listen to Fine Time. I don't know how many times I can tell you that.
Yeah, and kids weren't allowed to watch Beavis and Butthead, but we all did anyway, right?
Oh, I was allowed. I was old enough.
Well, yeah. You're older than us, so you were old enough.
Thanks for telling the audience. So was this like 2D or 3D?
No, 2D. You walk on a flat plane, and it's there wasn't a whole lot of actual options. This is not a Kevin game by all means, because you need to gauge the responses of the villagers through mumblings and things, and occasional button presses with props you get in between acts along the way, and mostly story with the occasional button pressing is not for Kevin. I know
mostly
it's not
story with the occasional button pressing sounds like it's up Luna's alley.
Yeah, because
it's funny you said that, because I played through the whole thing without a hitch, and I'm like, there's no fucking way this is going to work more than once. So I started looking at other Luna games that were available in the month of December. And one sitting right next to it was Steel Assault. And I knew I was pushing my luck with this one, because, like I just said, it was Once Upon a Jester, fairly leisurely. Sometimes there's QTS stuff happening. Okay, whatever. There was no fucking way Luna was going to handle a Tribute Games venture. No fucking way. And it totally did, you guys. I sucked shit at it because I was sleep deprived towards the end of December after working however many shifts in a row at Christmas, but it worked. I was not coming to grips with the electric grapple beam thing they wanted me to learn how to use, but I had fun for 2.5 levels before it started kicking my ass outright, and I might even buy this on my own later. Well, not on Luna, but on a real video game system.
Because I definitely want to as well. You guys know I'm a Tribute Games fanboy, so I definitely want to do that. So you didn't play Panzer Paladin, right?
Not yet.
You didn't? Did you play Flint Hook?
I liked Flint Hook.
Yeah, so you said you have a swingy thing. Is it like Flint Hook then?
It's a bit more stiff to use. Like, you can't use it on everything. You gotta. The grapply thing, he really only felt it could only work on specific time windows or wouldn't work at all. I think that was more my failing at, super late at night, not feeling so great, more than the game itself. I don't know. I'll have to play it for real at a later time.
I'll definitely. I haven't had a chance to even try this, and I kind of forgot that it came out. Unfortunately, I really do want to play this though because I love their shit.
See, I was having fun with Steel Assault, unlike the last game I tried on here, which was again free for the month. I would never buy this. Bloodrayne Betrayal, guys, this is awful.
I mean, is this the 2D? Is this the 2D one that came out?
This is WayForward's stylized 2D actiony Bloodrayne-y thing, and it sucks hard. You got to walk through dialogue and smack things and sort of do a backflip, and this is awful. And not because I kept getting disconnected. Yep, I am starting 2024 coming in with the brave new opinion. Well, not super brave or super new, that oh my God, WayForward is awful at this sometimes. You all know what you did, WayForward.
I mean, I know it's rated teen, which, I mean, come on. For Bloodrayne, that doesn't feel... Come on.
I just also feel like, Bloodrayne's audience is there for a reason, and 2D is not overly conducive to that reason.
I mean, I
sure
guess
isn't.
what they're trying to do with the backflips, but they're not fun to do, and hitting things isn't fun to do, and nothing's fun to do.
I mean, if a lady can't even bloodily kill Nazis with her tits out anymore, are we even a society? I mean, come on.
I mean, none of these games are my problem anymore, because that's the thing with this. They're all included with Luna for the month, and I can't play them anymore unless I subscribe to Luna. I'm not doing that.
So do they have like a monthly rotation of games?
They have a monthly rotation of games for people with Prime.
Okay.
That I can just pop into and peek. This month they got a handful. I'm not going to peek into any of this month. They got Wonder Boy. They got the Wonder Boy remake. I like that, but I'm not going to play it on cloud just to come back to you guys. I got a lot of stuff to do.
I wonder if the reason this works so well is because you were the only one using Luna at the time, and all of their processing power was solely dedicated to you. There's a big green light that lit up in Jeff Bezos' office, and he jumped up and screamed when you fired that up.
Well, when it shuts down in March, we'll have our answer.
Oh my God, that's perfect. He was the only one on. Yeah, when he tried it before, everyone tried it. And it's like, well, that sucks. And then,
everyone's trying to play Baseball Stars 2 at once.
Maybe that's why Stadia got better, quote unquote, better near the end. Just people reported.
all these lazy ass podcasters trying it when it comes out. You got to wait till the bitter end, like Fine Time. This is real journalism.
We should have had a send-off party for what's it called, Babylon's Fall or something like that.
We would have increased the player count by 50%.
Yeah, we would have been literally the only 3 people on there. Like, yeah, wasn't that reported? Like, it had a concurrent users of like 2 or like 1 or 2 people.
It was dramatically low. Yes,
I was like, we could more than double the count by just playing the game. Anyway, I'll go last here. I want to talk about something called Pinball M. Okay, so you guys are familiar with Pinball FX, right? The long-running pinball series on various systems. Yeah, okay. So they like kind of rebooted the series last year because they wanted to put in Unreal Engine 5 and stuff, and so it's on PS5, Xbox Series X, etc. And they did this almost about a year ago, like I think early 2023, and it looks great, plays great. It's Pinball FX as we've always known it. They have Williams tables, they have Marvel tables, Star Wars tables, like they usually do, right? And that new client was necessary because not just for the Unreal Engine 5 and the new graphics and ray tracing, whatever, it was also because Pinball FX3, their previous version, that was rated E10. And so when they got the rights to the Williams tables, that kind of posed a problem because you can't have this guy smoking a cigar on this artwork, right? Or you outright cannot have stuff like Bride of Pinbot or Elvira, right? Like you just can't have it. But this new Pinball FX from 2023 is rated teen, so it solves all that problems. But that leaves one frontier unexplored, and that's mature rated pins. So that's what Pinball M is. It's a new client by the Pinball FX guys to have M-rated pins. And so, okay, I don't know if you guys will look at my notes. Can you guess what might be on here? If you're thinking, okay, they're going to make mature rated pins, what licenses they might get, Kevin? Could you venture a guess?
Nothing that I can think that would actually have content that would justify that.
Okay, Steve? From real tables, I honestly don't know because
No, not real ones. Just anything that they might want to license.
Oh!
Anything,
okay,
Kevin.
Okay. What about a Playboy pinball table?
Okay, right. I'm pretty sure that's happened before, right?
Yeah. That has to be out there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that might exist. Steve, do you have any guess that they might want to,
See, my initial guesses would have been something like Elvira or Bride of Pinbot. I finally found one of those in the wild back in spring, and I'm like, holy shit. And they tucked it in the back. They knew what was going on.
The place I play pinball at in San Francisco has a Bride of Pinbot right smack in the middle of everything. They didn't give a fuck. It's right here, baby. God, when I knew Pinbot when I was a kid, but when Bride of Pinbot came out, I was still 9-10 years old. That felt very naughty to play. I gotta tell you. Anyway,
she's just letting you push her buttons.
Oh, it's pushing my buttons, all right. So, okay, I'll tell you guys what's in here. So there's 5 pins in Pinball M. The free one, by just downloading the client, is something called Wrath of the Elder Gods Director's Cut. Wrath of the Elder Gods is something that's already in Pinball FX, but this new one in Pinball M is more, like it says, Director's
Tits
Cut.
out.
It's more, tits out version, right? Well, all the tentacles and blood and whatever. So, but here's the 4 DLC pins. There's Chucky's Killer Pinball. There's Dead by Daylight. There's Duke Nukem, and The Thing. Those are the 4 properties they have in here. And these 4 pins cost $20, which honestly is a great deal. It's pretty good, I think that's pretty fair. $5 a pin, I'll take that. So I took the plunge, and I was pretty impressed with the results. And can I just start with how funny it is to have pinball tables that cuss at you? In The Thing, when you get ball saved or whatever, some guy just comes on and goes, "Cut the bullshit." It's like, okay, sorry. Geez. I know we have a new rating here, but don't yell at me. Sorry. My favorite is when in the Chucky's Killer Pinball, when you break this glass and the marbles fly everywhere, he gives this famous "Don't fuck with the Chuck." It's in there. It's got to be in there. I haven't watched a whole lot of Chucky movies, but I do know that line, and that I was glad that was there. And but think about what I just said about that Chucky pinball. You break the glass and marbles fly everywhere. That doesn't sound like a realistic pinball thing that could happen in real life, right? So that's the thing about Pinball FX tables, is that they try to do something. It's not total video pinballs, Kevin, like Demon's Tilt or some shit like that. It's not completely based in, fantasy. They do try to do real stuff, but heightened. So in Chucky's Killer Pinball, you know how typically you'd have animatronics on a real pinball table? This Chucky is fully 3D and animated, like a real thing that moves. And obviously it's not possible in real life unless you're doing some sort of hologram bullshit, which I guess is possible, but whatever. But it leads to some cool stuff because there's a fun bonus game on Chucky's Killer Pinball where he actually gets on the field to play. and he's standing there and he's looking for you, quote unquote, looking for you. So you want to zip the pinball around these ramps and stuff, but you don't want the pinball to hit Chucky. Because if you do, then he, quote unquote, discovers you and then the bonus is over. So there's like really cool inventive stuff like that. Well, adhering to like very, traditional pinball, it's also not, right? Because they're doing stuff that you can't do in real life, which I think is really fun, and that's a very good use of the license. There's also just stuff that you wouldn't be able to do in real life as well, such as like blood trails sometimes you're going to run over stuff, or when you launch the ball or whatever. Like obviously it's it's something for the video game and something you wouldn't be able to do in Pinball FX without the ESRB having a fit. So I just think it's really cool that this happened. You wouldn't ever think like what market would there be for like mature rated pins outside of what you just said, Kevin, Playboy or some shit like that. But I think it's really fun, and for $20, can't go wrong. The Duke Nukem pin is exactly what you think it is. Whatever you're thinking, that's exactly what it is. With all this lines and all this stupid shit. There is one mini game that I don't know what happens though, because like I triggered something and it was like, get to the toilet in 30 seconds or something like that. And I'm like, well, where's the toilet? And I'm sure if I actually hit it, Duke just has his like peeing sounds or whatever. Like when you go up to the urinal in Duke Nukem 3D and click it or whatever, like I'm sure it's that.
Okay, but could you imagine a real ass Duke Nukem pinball machine with a well-crafted toilet in each one?
I mean, I can. I mean, it's very much part of the series humor. You gotta have toilets and urinals. I always back in the day, me and my friend, when he had Duke Nukem 3D on his computer, and I used to go over there and play it. We used to make fun of the fact that like when you click on the urinal in Duke, he pees for like 2 seconds, and then he's like over it. And he's just like, that was it. I get it. It's a video game. You don't want him stand there pee for like 30 seconds or something. That's like boring. But at the same time, it's just like tinkle. Whoop. Okay, I'm done. Anyway, there's just one thing in the thing where the dog, Steve, is coming up from like this pool of blood, and they actually animate this thing, and that's like the only thing in this bonus game that made me go like, ugh. You know what I mean? I didn't think like a pinball table would ever kind of squick me out a little bit, but that kind of did. It was kind of gruesome looking with the dog, and then like obviously that's the point of the thing, but it's cool. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I really have anything else to say about this. It's just a nice package.
I would like to know, first of all, if the Dead by Daylight table has a Nicolas Cage ramp, because I hope it does.
I do not know. The more I will explore some other options in Dead by Daylight, and I will.
If you get the Nicolas
out.
Cage ramp, please let me know. My second question: do they plan on expanding this, or is this there's the one free table, the 4 paid tables, and that's Pinball M, and it's said and done?
I would imagine they're going to do more. I mean, they never leave this shit alone. It's probably just starting small. Pinball FX has a lot more because it's stuff built up over years and years of stuff they made for the game. So it has like an inroad. I'm sure this will grow too. And that's a good question. Like, imagine we could get like a cool, like not sanitized, like RoboCop pin or like Terminator or something.
Ooh.
Man, that would be cool, right? You could like really show the shit and like have like a real cool, like, pinball table. I don't know. I hope they can do more licenses. Hopefully nothing they get for these horror ones, Steve, will cost that much.
And I'm just thinking, because again, I was in a pinball place back in April where I saw Bright Pinball. I played a Terminator 2 pin, and I'm pretty sure it was Terminator 2, where you launched a plunger with a fucking gun. So I really don't know. So again, I think they were already pushing it pretty close with that.
You're right. Anyway, I think that's it for what we've been playing. We're going to take a break. When we come back, oh boy, we got leaks, baby. We leaky. Be back in a second.
You're coasting with Fine Time.
We are back, and we are here to talk about those Insomniac leaks. So let's set the stage first. Sometime last month, there was a person or group that said they had all the data of Insomniac, everything. Files for previous games like, Ratchet and Clank, Rift Apart, Spider-Man, etc., as well as their upcoming plans, like the upcoming Wolverine and stuff like that, everything, and all their internal documents. And Insomniac did not pay, of course, Sony/Insomniac, because why would they? I wouldn't pay either. And so all that stuff was leaked to the internet. And oh boy, we found out a lot of stuff, guys. The shitty part about this is that this party also leaked personal information about employees and shit like that, which is obviously not what we're going to talk about today. We're not interested in stuff like that, nor would I ever share that kind of information. Not that I've seen it out there. I've only seen stuff about the games. Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about today.
He's lying. He's been looking at pictures of Jim's naked wife on the internet.
Yes, exactly. You got me. I totally have seen everything.
But other than that, he's been squeaky clean about this whole thing.
Yes, of course.
Didn't look at Jim's social insurance number for sure.
Remember the Giga hack in 2010 or 11 of all the celebrities because they got into Apple's back end of something of iCloud or some shit like that.
Right.
You remember that shit? Yeah. There was photos of everybody. Anyway, we're not interested in stuff like that. We just want to talk about the games because we hit the mother load. This is some cream of the crop shit, guys. This is okay. I'm just going to present the buffet to you, the AAA buffet. And I want to read all this stuff, and then from there, we can take it in any direction we want. But I just want to lay out the options we have available to us, okay? Here we go. Tonight's selections at the AAA buffet include Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart was not profitable. It sold 2.2 million copies, but cost $81 million to make, so that gave them an $8 million loss when it was all said and done. Spider-Man 2's budget was $315 million. Spider-Man Remastered, the PS5 version of the 2018 game, that cost $40 million to produce. The remake. Sunset Overdrive, something near and dear to Kevin's heart, the 2014 Xbox One exclusive they developed. That game made a grand total... It is a masterpiece, according to you. That game made a grand total of 567. Not 567 million. Not 567,000. $567.00 US dollars. It made more money than Ratchet and Clank. An image was found, and this is the one most interesting to me. An image was found detailing their developmental plans over the next 8 to 10 years. So they found a roadmap. Now, there is no date on this roadmap, which means plans could have easily changed by then. So we don't really know, right? But here's what was on the roadmap, just for posterity. There's going to be a Venom game in 2025, presumably kind of like the Miles Morales to the Spider-Man 2. You know what I mean? That kind of shorter, smaller adventure kind of thing. Because Venom's already in Spider-Man 2, so they're probably just spinning that off, making a shorter game of it. That's 2025. Wolverine isn't coming out till 2026. Spider-Man 3, there's supposed to be a part 1 of Spider-Man 3 in 2027, a part 2 in 2028, and these two parts will both be $50 each. And this entire Spider-Man 3 project is budgeted at $400 million. All of this is leading to an X-Men game in 2030. And then after that on the roadmap, the last thing says new IP penciled in for 2031 or 2032. Whew. Wow. I genuinely do not know where to begin with this. Maybe Kevin can start somewhere. One of you guys take the reins here. That is a lot. We have a lot of the buffet here. Eat up, fellas.
Yeah, I've got a few things. The first thing on my list, and you already said this, but I need to be able to speak it myself. It is official that Sunset Overdrive is more profitable than Ratchet and Clank. Why is Sunset Overdrive not on the fucking roadmap list? Okay, that's bullshit.
I mean, I would love it to be. Maybe this roadmap is from like 2020 or something, and it's on there now. Who knows?
Fucking Insomniac is too good to get $567 more dollars.
I know, right? It's already profitable. Just release it.
Yeah, exactly. Why not do 2 more?
Just don't spend $40 million remastering it. That's all.
Yeah. Okay, that's the next thing. How in the fuck did that happen? I obviously do not know how game development works, but I know, in my mind, there's just this like giant big AI upscaler device, and you stick in Spider-Man, and then it whirs and spits out some steams, and some gears turn, and then it spits out a fancy, prettier Spider-Man remastered. But $40 million? Like, what is that? What is that spent on?
I don't know, man. And okay, I'll put it this way. So, how we heard last year that at Gamescom, Nintendo showed the Switch 2 to people, and they showed Breath of the Wild running at 4K, 60 frames a second, etc., fast loading and everything. I sincerely doubt Nintendo spent $40 million making that.
I fucking doubt it too.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Right now, to be fair, they did totally replace the Spider-Man actor. If you remember, they got that guy who looked like almost like Tom Holland, and they but that also begs the question: why did you guys do that in the first place? If you have why are we spending so much money? Now, I doubt that by itself costs $40 million.
Almost Tom Holland was $39 million itself.
Yeah. But at the same time, you have to ask yourself, why did they even feel the need to spend the money to do that in the first place? Nobody even really knows why, still to this day. So it's just, man, Steve, what do you take away from any of this?
Like Kevin, I focused a lot on the roadmap, whether it's real or not. Maybe it's different now. Who knows? But one, it looks an awful lot like the Disney Cinematic Universe roadmap.
Oh yeah,
oh boy, this is very similar. Never mind how a lot of these the movies fell off. This really doesn't fell off this year due to writer's strikes or whatever. I really don't feel like this would be, if I was Insomniac, I really wouldn't be sticking all my eggs in the superhero basket. But that's just me. I guess they're trapped in a corner on this one, or maybe not. But at the same time, just superheroes for the next decade, I don't see. I feel like the only reason we all glommed onto Spider-Man 2018 was because it felt fresh. This isn't going to feel fresh, especially when Spider-Man 3 is going to be in 2 fucking parts.
Yeah, man. Kevin, that's crazy, man. 2 parts of Spider. That's what a strategy, huh? It's weird.
Yeah, I really have to wonder, what data do they have that makes them think that's a good model? And again, I don't know. Right. But my assumption, there's got to be a fairly sharp drop off of people that play Spider-Man 3 Part 1 that don't play Spider-Man 3 Part 2, because it's just not as new and shiny. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With no knowledge of anything at all, my assumption would have been that it would have been more lucrative to put out the game in 1 part at full price and have a sizable DLC that goes along with it. I mean,
how do I say this? Okay, so I think what they're trying to do, because game development is taking so fucking long, think about it. They're planning an X-Men game in fucking 2030, man. I'm going to be 48 goddamn years old. What the fuck?
That's rough.
Seriously, man, and I saw some of the Wolverine footage, okay? The really early Wolverine footage. And they had, I cannot remember the character's name in X-Men, but she's the lady who turns into the Phoenix.
Jean Grey, yeah.
Yeah, Jean Grey. And so that's obviously, they're already setting up for the X-Men game because of Wolverine, And they're doing this whole thing, and like Steve said, it's this whole, it does look like a Marvel Cinematic Universe map, like they used to do. Now that's blown up because of the year they had, surely. But, it's wild. They're just a Marvel studio now. Insomniac is a Marvel studio. That's wild to me. Games are taking so much money to make and take so long to make. You can only bank on the really true things now more than ever. That's depressing. I'm sorry. I don't usually like to get. Go ahead.
Is that as sure of a thing as they think it is, though? I mean, it seems to me like the superhero stuff has been trending down over the last couple years. I mean, it to me, it's kind of the equivalent of like saying we're going to spend the next 10 years making vampire games after the second Twilight movie comes out. You know what I mean?
I understand what you mean. However, I think superhero video games being bankable hasn't really been a thing until recent times. So like as we found out at the Game Awards also, Ninja Theory, is it Ninja Theory? Who's making the Blade game? Is it Bethesda? Who's making that?
Bethesda.
Is it Bethesda? Okay. Arcane. It's Arcane Studios. And that's like a thing, right? And it's like, I don't know. I think it's more bankable in video games than it ever has been. It's almost like, how comic books themselves kind of come and go. Like some years are popular, some years are not really popular. It kind of ebbs and flows, but they're always around. I think video game superheroes will be pretty bankable for a while.
Yeah, but we're also talking 2030. I mean, I think
a lot can change.
It's a long way away.
Yeah,
especially with these budgets.
I mean, it just and I'm not saying where everybody's super confident that's not going to be bankable in 2030, but it's just the like putting all of your eggs in one basket thing.
It is very concerning though, and I don't. We'll never know what Nintendo spends on video games, right? We just won't. I can't imagine even something like what do you think their most expensive game is? Super Smash Brothers Ultimate, maybe because of the licenses and everything that goes into it. Right. It did reuse a lot of stuff though, so I don't know. But I don't know. Is it Tears of the Kingdom?
See, that would have been my thought. I would have thought that would have cost a fair amount more than Smash Ultimate.
Yeah, so maybe that. Do you think they're spending $300 million making that game, though? Because I don't. Okay, I don't. Look, I don't really know everything about Japan's economics, and I'm not going to pretend to. So nobody take this as like me, I'm just spitballing here, okay? Just ideas right now. I saw Godzilla -1 last month. The theater. That movie looks phenomenal. Godzilla looked incredible. It was a really good looking movie. It also cost $15 million to make. And Marvel / Disney is out here spending $200 million plus on like every movie that don't look a whole lot better than Godzilla -1. You know what I mean? For like a fraction of the budget. Mm. And I just think about that because it's like, what are they doing? Like in America, what are we doing here that we are spending like just ridiculous money on that we're expecting return on versus like, I know Nintendo, think about their lineup for this year. Another code is coming out in a couple weeks. That's just a port of a couple DS games. We have Mario versus Donkey Kong, a port of. We have, how much do you really think they spent on Princess Peach Showtime? I don't know. I guess all I'm trying to say is at some point, this feels so unsustainable, Kevin. We can't just keep spending money like this.
We talked last year about how much Horizon Forbidden West cost to make. And you said guess, and I said I really have no like foundation to guess. And I said 400 million on that, and you laughed at me and called me an idiot, which now doesn't sound so laughable.
No,
but do you remember what because I feel like that was like 230 or like a bit over 200 or something, right? Yes. And to me, that's like AAA premium complex open world, like outstanding animation. I don't know, like from there, especially for something like Spider-Man. I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm having trouble figuring out where that separation is.
I understand. And like, I think with the Spider-Man 3 though, with the two parts of it, I think what they're trying to do is bake in sequels almost like what the Lord of the Rings pioneered, what Peter Jackson pioneered by let's just film all three movies at the same fucking time.
But
and just put them out.
Two parts of Spider-Man 3 guaranteed you're going to have the same world, right?
Yes.
So that's a lot of the, unless, and maybe that's the draw. Maybe they come in and they say, you know what, at the end of Spider-Man 1, before, like after it comes out and they show off part 2, that world is like radically destroyed and something like completely different, right? We're talking like post-apocalypse, maybe that's where the money comes from, and maybe that's the draw to say, because I think they need something sizable to get you to come back, and like playing in the same world in itself to me seems like it's a hard sell.
400 million to just do that, to just do World of Ruin though.
Yeah, man, people will be there for that. I mean, look, I'll be there for that. I haven't played Spider-Man 2 yet. I think probably next episode, next big deal, rather, I will talk about Spider-Man 2. I do want to get to it real soon. I have it here. I haven't started it yet. I meant to play it for this show, but I just got caught up, so I talked about Pinball M. But I think the thing I hear about that already is that it's just more Spider-Man until you get to play as Venom. Which, like, look, that's fine. But it's like what Kevin said, at some point, like how much of the same Spider-Man, like I don't know if you guys remember how big a deal like the PS1 Spider-Mans were, like Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2 on that system. Those were like super popular because they gave you, like, they look like shit now, but they gave you that like web swinging and stuff that we always wanted to do, and you can finally do it. And then like we get into the PS2 era, they were still kind of popular, but at some point they had to take
Spider-Man
a break.
2 on PS2 was, I feel like that was like peak Spider-Man video game hype.
Probably. I'm probably underestimating a bit. I'm just saying that like those first games had a revelation because it's like, oh my God, we could do something cool with superheroes. But then it kind of died out, and then like Spider-Man 2018 on PlayStation kind of revived that concept, like, oh, we can still do this. So at some point, maybe when like Spider-Man 3 hits, I think I might be changing my mind, Kevin. There could be kind of a burnout on this stuff.
What I first thought of, I mean, when you go in and you look at trophies and see like the percentage of people that have got each trophy, the percentage of people that finish a game is always like alarmingly low to me. So if you buy Spider-Man 3 Part 1 and you don't finish it, what is the incentive to buy Part 2? If it doesn't have a different world? Because if you didn't finish it, odds are you probably spent most of your time just dicking around doing the web slinging and fucking fighting with bad guys that pop up in randomized events kind of thing. There's no incentive to keep on with that to me.
Yeah, it's a weird strategy. I don't know. We'll see if it pays off. I just don't know. Like you said, it would have to be something radically different. Like Tears of the Kingdom offered us, we didn't just have the land. We had 3 different fucking tiers of world map. You know what I mean? Which is insane, right? They're going to have to do something crazy, I think.
And one of those tiers not even being marketed, let alone.
Yeah. Like, holy shit. Just incredible, right? So they might have to do something like that, and I'm not sure they have something like that to their sleeve. Or we could be completely wrong. People just buy both Spider-Mans. I don't know, man. Who knows? But
boy, for 400 million, you can get the real Tom Holland, I bet.
I bet. I don't know. Oh man, we could keep talking about this forever. We should probably move on. Steve, you got anything left on the Insomniac besides hashtag save whatever overdrive, Sunset Overdrive?
Whatever overdrive. Fuck you.
Okay, I almost said Sunset Eclipse, which is not the name of the game. So I was trying to not embarrass myself.
I probably would have appreciated that more than whatever overdrive.
We're all in agreement, right? The new IP that's penciled in for 2031, that doesn't exist, right? It's just a thing on the wall in the gray offices of Insomniac, and they're all just like, one day we'll be free and we can work on a new IP again. And one day it's just going to be scratched out and replaced with Ratchet and Clank. And then another time it's going to be scratched out again and replaced with the Rocket Raccoon's Rad Adventures or whatever they come up with if they're still doing Marvel shit.
I think I forgot to put this on the roadmap. There is another Ratchet and Clank penciled in there for like 2018 or 19, probably for like PS6 or something.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that. So that is on the docket. 2018 or 19? I mean, 2028 or 29. Jesus Christ. I can't even, man. The years are just flying by. Yeah, but that's on the roadmap too. I forgot to write that down. But that's like, okay, we're not making another Ratchet until like the next system. Remember how many Ratchets on PS3? I can't even keep track of them all. Like, there's so many. I don't know. But I guess let me end with this. I think the whole point of what we're trying to get at here is that we truly do not understand that how these economics can be sustainable. Spending $81 million on a mascot platformer is wild, right? That's just wild. Again, I keep trying to compare to Nintendo, and I don't mean to do it so much, but if they spent $81 million on Mario Odyssey, I would be fucking shocked. And that's Mario, something they know is going to make its budget and then some. Right? But Nintendo doesn't operate that way. They're trying to make money, right? I don't know, man. Something just has to change. I know that's like kind of like no shit, but like we just can't be out here being like $2 million is a failure for a game that costs like so much money to make when you probably like it's Ratchet and Clank. Like realize what you're making here, right? I don't know, man. I guess that's all I gotta say.
Guys, I mean, I don't know what we all expected, but it finally happened. E3 is dead. For real this time.
No.
I guess it was in the middle of last month. They just randomly tweeted it was over. The statement read, after more than 2 decades of E3, each one bigger than the last, debatable, the time has come to say goodbye. Thanks for the memories. I guess they weren't getting the participation from just Ubisoft last year. And remember I guess around this time last year, we were kind of speculating like, oh, ReedPop was just sort of expecting this to happen. And, instead of all those leaks that happened the last year, what a fucking mess that was. I guess we didn't want to be right, but we were right. It's not coming back. Do we think something's going to fill the void, or has it already been filled by, Jeff's new favorite toy, the Summer Games Fest?
Well, on this show, I have often stressed the importance of like in-person events. And that's the thing I've always said about E3. It's an in-person event and that matters. But there's also something about this that I don't think I've also stressed. When I say in person, I don't just mean like industry events. I mean like anything where people like physically get together to do a thing. And like this includes arcades, which we obviously don't have anymore, right? And this includes like tournaments like Evo or, local fighting game tournaments or whatever. I guess they don't have to be fighting games, but anything like that, right? This includes like even just like in-store kiosks or like, special booths, which, post-pandemic are starting to come back, but, not the way they were before. And like, I think to go to something else, think about how people my age or older lament the loss of the record store. Not because like I'm attached to physical media, because I'm not. I'm sure some people are like big vinyl collectors or whatever, but that wasn't really what it was for me. It was the like talking to people about music at the record store. You're flipping through the same section. Oh yeah, you like that one? Oh, I heard this one a couple years ago. It's great. If you like this band, you'll like yeah, you can like do that kind of stuff online too. Don't get me wrong, that's great. But there is something about that we don't have anymore. And I don't want video games to lose that too, I guess is all I'm trying to say. So yeah, E3 going away sucks, but I guess the writing was on the wall for a while, Kevin.
I hate it. And I have no confidence that Summer Games Fest is going to be able to do what E3 did. And what, I think what we want out of it is that solid week of news and trailers, right? I think we're really in the era of those direct style presentations, at whatever cadence that the company prefers to put them out at. And those are great. We love those. That's somewhat of an event in itself, but E3 is the video game news orgasm of the year. And I don't want that to go away. I kind of feel like the Game Awards itself is trending down a little bit in the public consciousness, and I don't think that either public nor industry has faith in Jeff and the gang to kind of be the replacement for what E3 is, because I think it would feel a little cheaply commercialized. So yeah, I think this is the end of an era, and it's wildly disappointing.
I agree, but what do you think about is trending downwards about the Game Awards? So I didn't necessarily feel that way.
There was definitely a lot more critiquing of it online, you know, both from the general public and industry. This year it was especially because of, you know, the short speech time that they gave to the award winners. But there was definitely also a lot of, you know, there's a lot of opinions I seen going around being like, okay, we should have a set, you know, one separate portion for just the awards, one separate portion for you know, just trailers and releases, which I don't think that's ever going to work.
That's not gonna,
you know,
people aren't gonna watch that.
IGN did that piece where they like went and, you know, everybody, they said, give us your blurb of everything you wanted to say because you got cut off. And, you know, again, you know, we're not putting a lot of stock in IGN, but I think just that such a big outlet put out it was a very biting piece really against the Game Awards. I don't know. I just don't feel like Jeff is looked at super favorably. So for Nintendo to stand up and say, hey, you know, what week is Summer Games Fest? That's what the week we're going to put out our big direct that week, and everybody else is going to follow suit. I don't see it happening.
I guess I don't see that either, and it's unfortunate. I guess I'll just have to stick to doing a summer direct whenever the fuck they feel like it. But, you know, I think this year's different because they're totally launching new hardware. So, you know, they're going to have an event for that at some point. But man, it sucks. I did go to one E3 in my life. It was E3 2006, and I had a ball. I kind of want to tell a story about it, but I don't know if the guys are...
I think you should.
You should absolutely tell this story.
All right. And I know you've heard the story. I know you've heard this already, but hopefully you'll enjoy hearing it again. So, at this E3 2006, I think the Megaton game that year was not Nocturne. It was Devil Summoner, I think. One of the PS2 ones that wasn't Digital Devil Saga or like Shin Megami Tensei 3. I forget what it was called. But there was a line you could wait in for 250 people in this line. So it was a short line, and you could meet the artist for the game, and you could get a signed cell of artwork with his signature on it that he signs right in front of you. And I got one. They're all numbered. I think I got like 101 out of 250. It's around here somewhere. I'll have to show you guys sometime. And while we were waiting in this line, you know, all of us nerds, because we're Megaton, of course we're nerds, there was a big hubbub going on from us, like maybe like 20, 30 feet away, diagonal across from us. And we were like, what the hell is going on there? Because there were so many people, we just couldn't even see who was there, what it was supposed to be, or anything. And we're just peeking over our shoulder, trying to look. And this guy in front of me in line is trying to like peek. And I said, buddy, go. Okay, you go look. I'll hold your place in line. Go see what's going on over there and report back to us, because we all want to know, right? So he saunters over there. He gets there. He's around the crowd. He's kind of a tall guy. He's kind of like pushing on people's shoulders a little bit, like kind of standing, you know, like kind of peacocking up there, trying to look. And he finally gets a glimpse, and he turns around. He has a disgusted look on his face. He's walking back towards us, and he just yells at us in line, "Never mind, guys. It's just Paris Hilton."
Now, for you kids at home,
which was perfect. And then all of us in line went, "Oh, that's it." It was great. It was so good. It was just because we're all like, fuck, this is Paris Hilton. That's not exciting. You know, like, you know, but yeah, I had a great time at E3 2006. I'll never forget it. It's the only one I ever got to go to, but so long, E3. A few days before the Game Awards last month, Sega started sending out postcards to influencers that said, "New era, new energy. Make sure to tune into the Game Awards December 7th," as if we weren't going to. And they made good on this promise by announcing 5 brand new games from their stable of IPs. The 5 being Shinobi, Streets of Rage, Golden Axe, Crazy Taxi, and Jet Set Radio. Only very brief gameplay was shown of all these 5 games because there's just one cut up trailer. But I just thought it would be fun to overreact to like the few seconds of footage that we saw of each, because that sounds like fun. I like to do that kind of stuff. Overreact and speculate to stuff that we don't know about yet. What do you think, Kevin?
I think that sounds hot, in the words of Paris Hilton.
That's hot. I can't even do a Paris Hilton voice, Steve.
I don't know why you're expecting me to do the Paris Hilton voice. That's out of my purview. I can't
do it, Steve. Why don't you help me, Steve?
Look, I just, because I wasn't expecting anything from Sega again. They talk out of their ass all the time. Like, it's a brand new time. And then they're like, here's Sonic NFTs. No, they came.
They didn't do Sonic NFTs.
You know what I'm saying.
I know. But yeah, they announced these, and I'm going to call them the Sega Five. I'm going to make Sega 5 happen. I mean, I want you guys to help me on this.
I mean, Sega 5 is a good place to start. There should be Sega more than 5, but, Sega's got to take their time.
Sega 5 it is. Hashtag okay. Sega 5.
Hey, hashtag Sega 5. There is rumored to be more than 5, though. Steve has it right. But we're just going to go with the 5 that we saw in this trailer. By the way, did you guys have any idea what this announcement might be before it happened? Because I thought it was going to be Virtua Fighter. But that did not happen.
Yeah.
No inkling.
No, I thought they were just going to have I thought it was just going to be that the two of them playing the games. They're like, Sega, we got stuff coming, maybe. And then that's it. with nothing to show for it.
What if it was just like Sonic Frontiers 2 or something and everyone would be pissed?
They're reissuing the Game Boy or the Game Gear Micro that they did, the little tiny ones.
Oh yeah, I remember them shits. Those are so expensive too. Okay, let's start with Jet Set Radio. We want to talk about all 5 and overreact to them, and we're going to give it a confidence level 1 to 10, how confident we think this is going to be good. Again, we're going full overreaction here. Let's start with Jet Set Radio, because this is the only thing we have any blurb about, we know anything about, because the Sega of America CEO Shuji Utsuimi said to the Washington Post, "The concept of games like Jet Set Radio is advanced. The original creators are involved again, and its time is now." What does that mean? The quote-unquote original creators? I have no idea, but that's literally all we know about any of these 5 games is that. As for those who don't know, I am a man with a Jet Set Radio tattoo. So this is obviously the one I care about the most, and is also the one I have the most questions about, because, like, Steve, this basically looked like a remake. It looked like a section from the first game with like a fresh coat of paint. And like, if it is a remake, that's fine. Actually, I'm okay with that. But I kind of hope it's not one. Just as like Jet Set Radio Future was like a totally different feel from the original, I'm hoping this new one can be different too, in a cool way. But that's probably too much to ask, huh? Because these games probably aren't very high budget. So as it stands, my confidence level is a 5 out of 10 for Jet Set Radio, Steve.
Yeah, I've only really grazed these games before. Someone ended up with these on Dreamcast and Xbox. I thought I said I flipped it the other way, but I didn't. I don't know. Yeah. So I haven't, played these as extensively as you two. I'll start taking beatings now. Okay, so no beatings, but it looked neat. I think I could spare it a confidence level of 7.
Oh, 7. Okay.
I have not played these extensively either, and I'll match Andre's 5. I'm cautiously optimistic. I really like the art style and theming of these. I tried to get into Jet Grind Radio, tried to get into Jet Set Radio Future, and the most I've been able to get into one of those games is Bomb Rush Cyberpunk. So I think if there's some modernization here, this might be up my alley. But again, I mentioned when I played Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, I'm not real into that, like making the graffiti mechanic. So I'm kind of hoping personally that's not predominant here.
it wasn't as nearly as predominant in Jet Set Radio Future, and that's one of the reasons why I like Jet Set Radio, the original, more, is because I like that, you know, you got to get the space, you got to run away from the cops long enough to be able to make that graffiti and then like make your escape or whatever. I thought that gameplay loop was satisfying. Again, it doesn't have to be exactly like that. It could be more like Future or something entirely different. So it could be fine. Streets of Rage. It showed like 2 seconds of footage, Steve. It looked like it was 3D gameplay, right? It almost, I'm not saying it looked like Fighting Force or some stupid shit, but it definitely did not look like on a 2D plane. The models are 3D. And considering we just had Streets of Rage 4 like a few years ago, it's weird that they're trying this again. And I don't know. I do appreciate the boldness of trying to make this 3D. We'll see what happens, but my confidence level in Streets of Rage is like a 6 out of 10. I'm more optimistic than I should be, but I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt for now for some reason.
See, I thought this was an interesting choice to show off. One, because again, you already brought up Streets of Rage 4. I still need to play that, so it's fairly.
I didn't know you didn't play it.
I still haven't played it. Maybe real soon I'll play it, I hope. And then, again, this didn't look bad, but you had other games to show. You didn't make this announcement, come look at us at the Game Awards, and then only walk in with Streets of Rage. You had other games to show. I found it interesting you chose this. And a few hours ago, I did watch these again to reacquaint myself. They did stick a "and more to come" at the end. So, I mean, there were other things on the way. You didn't need to necessarily lean on Streets of Rage to show us how back Sega is.
I guess not, though.
So on this, I'm more leaning on 5. Like, I don't hate it, but I'm not exactly in love with it either, especially when, like I like to keep pointing out, we're in this great time of 2D beat-em-ups. I don't know how I feel about a 3D Streets of Rage just yet.
I like that they're trying it, I guess. I like that they're not just making Streets of Rage 5, though. I do think that is cool. Whether it works out or not, who knows? But I do like the attempt at something different, I guess, Kevin.
Yeah, personally, I don't have a real big soft spot for beat-em-ups in general. I'm probably not the audience for this. I did think that this looked the least polished out of anything that we've seen these 2 seconds of gameplay. Obviously, keeping in mind these are going to be at different development stages. So personally, 3.
Okay. I think we're all in on Crazy Taxi. Because the original Crazy Taxi for me is one of the best games of all time. It's a super exact mix of driving skill, risk reward, score play. It's just magical. It's everything I love. And I don't think it's ever really been replicated. Like, the sequels were good. Like, I really do like Crazy Taxi 2 and 3, but they're just not the original. I don't think they can be. So I would love someone to try again and maybe see if like the original Crazy Taxi was lightning in a bottle. And again, I really wouldn't care if this was just a remake. I really wouldn't. That would be totally fine with me with a fresh coat of paint. I would be totally okay with a Crazy Taxi original remake. So my confidence level is a 6 out of 10. I'm being generous here, Kevin.
I hope that they kind of expand on this. There was a couple shots of different cop cars in this, so I'm wondering if there's some sort of like cops and robbers mode going on here, and I feel like I'd be into that. So I'm gonna go 8. I would say out of these 5, this is the one that was definite. This is a definite play.
Okay,
guys, we've only seen a few seconds of this so far, but I love me some Crazy Taxi. I even indulged in a lot of rip-off Crazy Taxi and Simpsons Road Rage, but we don't need to talk about that today. But please be good. For the love of God, please be good. I mean, I have enough faith to give this another confidence level of 7. I feel like this should also be the easiest thing for them to nail, but what the fuck do we know about game development where Spider-Man 2 costs $400 million to... Never mind.
Yeah, I know, right? The revelations we have now are interesting. So Golden Axe looks shockingly good to me. Shocking. Like, consider me impressed. As anyone who has had the misfortune of playing the Xbox 360 game, the Golden Axe Beast Rider, I think it was called, that was like the absolute worst. Golden Axe is like a very particular kind of beat 'em up. It has a certain language to it that's like kind of hard to translate, but it just by looking at this few seconds of footage, and I feel like this is the game we got to see the most in this trailer. I think they got it right. It looks right. It looks really good. I'm going to go my highest confidence rating of this. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. I'm very confident in this one, Kevin.
Yeah, this did look slick, and it felt like it had a good, distinct art style. I have a question. This has to have multiplayer, right? That absolutely has to have multiplayer.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no way you can't do it without it. No way.
Yeah, I think this looks really solid. I would I'll do the 8 as well.
Okay.
I feel like this one strays from what we know about the original source material the most, but at the same time it looks like it could be really cool, so I'm gonna and be secretly great at the end. I'm sure I'll be proven wrong in like another year or two when we're in another Gollum situation. Golden Axe, what were they thinking? OMG. But until then, I'm fucking 8 out of 10 confidence rating.
I can't wait to watch Matt McMuscle's Golden Axe. What happened? But yeah, I figured you guys would be into this too. Yeah, it just looks great. But let's end on Shinobi, the one I think looks the least great. I didn't think this looked great at all. I thought it looked like shit. This is the one I found the most worrying by far. That art style, that very sketchy and comic-y art style it had, was not befitting of Shinobi at all. Shinobi was always like realistic as a ninja game can be, right? It wasn't pre-rendered, but it tried to go for that look. It tried to look as realistic as possible. This just looks like, I don't know, man. It looks like the goddamn Messenger. The camera's like so pulled out too. Shinobi's supposed to be kind of up close and like big sprites. This is like Ninja Gaiden. This is like way out here. And it's supposed to be way up there. And it's not. And look, it doesn't have to be exactly like the old games, but if you're going for this thing, like Sega is back, maybe don't have something that looked like it was made by a C-rate indie studio. So like my confidence level here is like a 2 out of 10. I don't think Shinobi is going to be good at all, Steve.
I wanted everything in this list to be good, and I guess it was okay but I'm looking at this again and again, and I'm like, we don't know too much about who's specifically working on these games, but it would not surprise me at Summer Games Fest we suddenly hear the Way Forward boot theme when they show off Shinobi again, and I'll be like, of fucking course they're the people working on this.
Yeah,
of course.
Wouldn't surprise me at all.
So because Sega loves to fucking ruin Shinobi, because the last time they did was on 3DS, where it was fucking K, I guess. Right. 1 out of 10 confidence rating. You got a lot to prove.
Lower than me. Kevin, what did you think of this?
I think I played a Shinobi game for like 10 minutes like 8 years ago, so I don't have the preconceived notions you guys. I thought this looked fine. I didn't think it looked cheap. I don't have any expectations, I guess, from it. So, but yeah, I didn't look at this and feel offended. So I'm going to be much more generous and give it a 5.5.
Okay. Yeah, I just for me being a Shinobi person, maybe Steve too, I don't know. Yeah, maybe that's it though. But again, I was going to say maybe that's it. It's going after like, a new audience, but this is explicitly going after old heads. So it just feels weird to have this kind of art style.
I have a question before we move on, and I'm wondering if anybody wants to take a stab at making a guess at a release order for these 5 games based on the very small amount of footage that we've seen. And I thought this was interesting. I put some thought into what I would have guessed the release order would have been, and what I came up with turned out to be exactly the order that they listed them at the end of the trailer, which was Jet Set Radio, Shinobi, Golden Axe, Streets of Rage, and then lastly Crazy Taxi.
I see. I would reverse. I think Crazy Taxi and Golden Axe look the furthest along. So I think those are coming out first. I couldn't necessarily say in which order. Then probably Jet Set Radio, Shinobi, and then like you said, Streets of Rage look the least finished to me. Again, we don't know what their actual development cycles are. You know what I mean? Who knows? But that's just an order of how finished they looked. That's the way I would go, Steve.
Well, just to throw another barber way forward, given the way they've been finishing games lately, Shinobi's probably already done, and that will likely be the first one to come out. As is. What we saw, that was the game. It's done.
Okay, yeah. Well, that would be good. Get the disappointment out of the way first. That would be that'd be perfectly fine.
After that, I couldn't tell you, but I hope they're all good. I just want them to be good. Good games,
I'm really
please.
going to hitch on the Jet Set Radio coming first because taking a second look at that, I thought it looked very, far along. They've got just kind of like the cutscene animation with the DJ, and I don't know, everything looked pretty maybe ready to go out the door and not too long to me. But
yeah,
I may be wrong.
I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, I'm definitely banking Golden Axe or Crazy Taxi first. Crazy Taxi should be first just because I don't know if it's like the most popular. It might be out of this set of 5, right? I think so. They should probably lead with something like that. Okay, we got a quiz game coming up. We'll be right back. We got to set up all the lights and cameras and action. We'll be back in a second.
Fine time.
All right. You know what that song means. We're going to play Name As Many Things As You Can in 45 Seconds. That's been a joke title for a long time. I guess that's just going to have to be the name of the show because I can't think of anything better.
Very marketable.
Very marketable. Our contestants today are Steve, all the way from Long Island.
I was promised a copy of the home game.
We'll talk about that later. We also have Kevin from Canada.
My name is Kevin, and I'm here to fuck.
Oh man, awesome. Well, you might get that after you win our $0 prize and name as many things as you can in 45 seconds. So let's set up the rules for people who've never heard this game. It's just what it sounds like. I'm going to put 45 seconds on the clock, and I'm going to give these guys a topic, and they're going to name as many things as they can for that topic. And it's a video game, so they must say the full name of the game for it to count. You can't say Mario 1 or something like that. You must say Super Mario Brothers, okay? No abbreviations. Don't say PUBG or FF12. You must say Players Unknown Battlegrounds or Final Fantasy 12, okay? And I'm not going to be too much of a stickler on subtitles unless I think they're really important. For instance, if you say Metroid Prime 2 instead of Metroid Prime 2 Echoes, I will count that, but that will be up to me. We flipped a coin in the green room, and we decided Steve is going to go first. So we're going to send Kevin to the soundproof booth. I'm going to put 45 seconds on the clock now. How do you feel? You feeling confident? Even though you haven't heard it, I want to get a feel for your feel.
Nope. Not for a second.
Okay, so here's what I want you to do. In 45 seconds, I want you to name as many Nintendo Switch games that have sold over 10 million copies. Nintendo Switch games that have sold over 10 million copies. Ready? Go.
Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Pokemon Sword. Pokemon Shield. Pokemon Legends Arceus. Pokemon Scarlet. Pokemon Violet. Super Mario Odyssey. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
All these are correct so far.
Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Jesus Christ, I know these.
That's it. All right. By my count, unless I got confused, you got 7.
Sure. That was more than I thought I was going to get.
Okay. Well, okay. Before I call him back in, how do you feel? Do you think he's going to beat that?
Yeah, I think he has a shot. We've gone over these numbers for topics before.
Okay. All right. Let's call him back in from the soundproof booth. Kevin, come back.
Hello.
Hello. Did you enjoy the olives in there? The nice salamis and meats and crackers?
You know what? I don't know if the listeners know this, but there is a video feed in there, and it sure looked like Steve was fucking talking and putting up a lot of fingers. So,
oh yeah,
I think he was establishing dominance. Also, just so you know, I think my headphones are a little loud because I could almost hear, so I plugged my ears the whole time just to protect the integrity of the show.
Always, thank you. So he got 7.
Ooh. Is there a chance that I'm gonna freeze up and fumble and just get like 1 or 2?
No way. There's no way.
Okay. I hope
so.
Not.
Let's put 45 seconds on the clock for you. Here's our topic. 45 seconds. I want you to name as many Nintendo Switch games that have sold over 10 million copies. Nintendo Switch games that have sold over 10 million copies. Ready? Go.
Animal Crossing New Horizons, Super Mario Odyssey, Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, oh boy. I'm trying to think of we go through these goddamn lists. I've heard the names. New Super Mario Bros. U. What else was real big? Pokemon Sword and Shield, possibly.
That's it. Okay. I could not count your second to last one because you did not say New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe.
Oh my god, you
Deluxe.
fucking
so
guy.
I'm sorry,
Good
I can't.
Lord.
I'm sorry, I can't. You've gotta. I'm sorry, I can't let that one go. But yeah, let's just call it a tie. I couldn't remember 6 or 7 for Steve, but you got 6. Let's just say this is a wash this time. There's 20. Want me to read them all real quick?
Wow.
Yeah, let me just go through them all.
You got
okay, so there's
Crossing. I'm surprised I didn't pull that up.
That was
all
number 2.
Hours I spent.
Yeah, so I'll just go from 1 to 20. So Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Animal Crossing New Horizons, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Breath of the Wild, Odyssey, Sword and Shield, Scarlet and Violet, Super Mario Party at 19.66, guys. Tears of the Kingdom is already in the top 10. New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, Ring Fit Adventure. Remember, that took off during the Rona.
Right.
Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. Yeah, Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, Arceus, Splatoon 2, Luigi's Mansion 3, Super Mario Bros. 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, Mario Party Superstars, Nintendo Switch Sports, and Splatoon 3 is number 20 with 10.67 million.
A lot of those are still surprising hearing them in retrospect. I feel like a fucking idiot for not getting Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. That's bad.
I feel stupid for not naming Splatoons.
Bubbling right under is a couple Mario games. 21 is Super Mario 3D All-Stars at 9.07 million. Super Mario Maker 2 is 8.4 million. So they're just kind of right under there. But yeah, I'm surprised neither of you said Luigi's Mansion 3. I thought that would kind of be a magnet for one of you, but
to me, that just doesn't strike me as more than 10 million, but I guess it is.
Me neither.
Yeah, well, it took off. Like, I remember when it sold like 5 billion, I was like, holy shit, people are really going for Luigi's Mansion right now, you know? I was surprised at the sales out of the gate, you know?
Steve, what did you get that I missed?
You got a lot of Pokemon.
I did a lot of Pokemon. I didn't get Animal Crossing, though.
I don't think I knew Arceus sold more than 10 million. I wouldn't have guessed that.
It was in the top 10 for a while until it wasn't.
Yeah, the first third-party game on here is Monster Hunter Rise at 7.7 million. That's the first third-party game on here, yeah. Anyway, so that was fun. Thank you for playing. Name as many things as you can in 45 seconds.
All right. I have got a very important announcement that is going to forever change the landscape of my personal Find Time lore, and I thought I needed to tell you guys. And I'm gonna rattle on for a few minutes to give some background. I've been hyper focused over the Christmas break. I feel I'm like genuinely frustrated, and I feel like we've really lost like tech hardware design as an art form. I'm annoyed with how everything is, black touch screen, even if it's not, it's a simple black box. Everything is very standardized. When I think back to like the early 2000s, I've been really thinking a lot. There's a specific model of the RCA Lyra MP3 player. Honestly, it's ass ugly. It's like but it's so like definitive of its time. Overall, I really like, the look of like 2000s MP3 players, that kind of stuff. Companies used to not be scared to like inject color into things and make interesting design choices. Whether they were good or bad, they were interesting. So I have a point to concede. I have decided I am now on board with the PlayStation 5 design. Not because I think it's good, because I still feel like it's like a parody of itself. It does look to me like what I would have drawn if somebody asked me in 2005, what will the PlayStation 5 look like, 15 years down the road. But I have an opinion on it, right? That's more than I can say for the Series X. Right. And I'll give them, they've got that like a little bit of green in the vent at the top, but it sits under my entertainment stand and it's just black and it's a rectangle and there's nothing interesting about it. So I will give the PS5 that. I'm not going to come after it anymore. It's interesting. And yeah, I have an opinion on it, and, we can debate it on the show. How often do we sit and like, when did we ever sit and like talk about like whether the Series X looks good or not?
Yeah, we don't, because it's just a black box. Well, I agree with you. And as you were talking, I did think, well, bitch, you better start liking the PS5. So I'm glad that's where you went with it. I agree with you. And I feel like it's pretty recent. Like, I think even the PS4 is like sort of like double tiered diagonal thing, or the PS4 Pro is like triple tiered diagonal thing. Even that feels fucking radical now, right? Compared to like a Roku box. It shouldn't, right? It really shouldn't feel that way, but it does. And I think you're correct. I don't think, you know what it is, actually? I just thought about it. The PS5 is the way it is out of necessity. It needed to be that big and it needed to have that kind of venting. So they needed to make a radical design for it. I think we've gotten so efficient with like computer parts, and it's not as like nearly as modular. We figured a lot of stuff out now where we don't have to make like really wild designs or even big ones. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that we can't design cool shit. It can be both. Just because it can fit into a little thing that's like the size of an iPod of old doesn't mean we should. Maybe we should make it look like something like that. That's part of marketing. I feel like Nintendo's never lost that. The only time they really didn't do that is with Wii U. That I could never tell you what the Wii U console looks like. I have no idea off the top of my head. See, Steve is turning his head right now and looking. So
it's a black oval Wii.
Yeah. So the Wii had a profile. We had a profile, had that diagonal stand, and they did that shit on purpose. They didn't need to have a diagonal angled stand, but they did, and it had that blue glowing slot. That's like a look, right? So I agree with you, Kevin, completely.
Yeah, the Switch is a really hard one, because I mean, even that, it's now that we're a few years down the road, and you look at things like the Steam Deck or the ROG Ally or whatever, like everything, it's very like function built. But I think because of the function those things serve, I it's hard for me to critique that. It's hard to say, well, they should have done something, more angled or, interesting with the Switch, because it's a handheld and it needs to, serve that specific function. But for something that just sits under my fucking entertainment stand and plays games, like, I don't know. I think I probably do need to spring for the colored plates for the PlayStation 5, because I would resent it less if it was red or blue or black. But even the black makes me kind of like, now I want something. Maybe I should just live with the white and just say I can appreciate you tried.
Yeah, at least you appreciate. I mean, that's kind of what I say about a lot of stuff, right? It's like I appreciate effort rather than the same thing. I'd rather someone try and fail than, now I like the PS5 design, as you well know, but I'd rather someone try and fail than just the same thing again.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. But that also makes like the PlayStation Portal kind of baffling. It is literally just a DualSense split in half with a screen in the middle. I mean, it is literally just that. It looks like someone made it in Photoshop and now it's real. So I don't know, man.
It apparently those things are flying off the shelves and it's hard to keep them in stock. I don't know if they're just not making enough, but yeah, I thought that thing was going to flop a lot harder than apparently it is.
Well, I mean, I think since it's a lot, you can't really compare it to PSVR 2 because it's so much cheaper than that. It's a much easier sell. But maybe there's more of a market for that than we thought. Steve, do you have any deep thoughts about box design in the 2020s?
Well, I'm looking right at my PS5 and my Switch right now, and I like how I could see the Joy-Con protruding out of the Switch when it's docked, and yes, the PS5 is ugly, but it's definitely a video game system. It's not a Blu-ray player. I mean, it is a Blu-ray player, but it can't be mistaken for anything else. It definitely plays video games. Although, since I do have it oriented horizontally out of necessity, it does look like something that needs to be wood grain and not all white.
Get you one of them decals. I got a Padres decal for mine.
I know I need to just get a decal or hope Sony just makes the shell that... I'm not good at fixing them on. That's my thing. But I need to get over that and just get myself a wood grain thing and just really make it look like it belongs there. Because if we're really going to have gaudy ass appliances in 2024, let's bring back the wood grain.
Remember Xbox 360 faceplates? I had a wood grain faceplate. Remember I had that?
That was fucking cool.
Yeah, remember that shit? Right? Yeah. Like, come on. And then they made the Slims, and then they didn't make faceplates for those anymore. I get that this console was on the way out, but like, come on, man.
But even by the time they got to the third, like the S model, like that they really, at least the second iteration had like, a bend in the middle to it, right? Like that generation they got same with the PS3, like every iteration of that got progressively more and more like basic bitch looking.
Yeah, I remember I like the what do we call it, the George Foreman grill of the original PS3. Yeah, I mean come on, it's stupid looking, but you will never mistake that for anything else. So
you guys remember the third PlayStation 3?
That plastic,
the plastic thing you had to slide open.
Yeah, fuck that. No, my God. Yeah. Well, shit, I didn't like the PSP Go, and neither did anyone else. But at least that looked like something, Kevin. Like I don't know. Like I get what you're saying. Yeah, we're in a. I don't know. Hopefully we don't lose that as a society. Let's get the fuck out of here. Great to be back. We'll be back every couple weeks with a big deal and then stuff in between, per usual. Welcome to 2024. Glad to have you with us. Leave us a like or even just a comment, especially if you use Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Check the description of this podcast to find all our names on social media. See you next time. Bye.
We'll see you next time on Fine Time.
The statement officially read. The steep. Hang on. The steep. Holy shit, Steve!
Take a break. Breathe. Take a sip. I'm making you take a sip right now. I'm imploring this.